It's just that the wisdom of God is like counterculture. I noticed how, like, growing up, you think, okay, as an adult, you reached a point where, you may not, you grown, you know what to do, but what, this, that. But actually, it's talking about, a wise person. They invest in, learning, increasing their learning, and listening, and also seeking the counsel of those that are wiser than them. So that's so counterculture. And I just thought that also was interesting. And it explains a lot in terms of why a lot of times the things that we see, it's just not natural to us in terms of how we've been taught, or what I guess social norms are. But this is the wisdom of God, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Following that, fools despise wisdom and instruction, and then here it goes on to talk. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace upon thy head, and chains about thy neck. So, sons, daughters, child, even, wife and husband and wife, hear the instruction. Okay, hear instruction. All right. So don't be that fool that despises wisdom and instruction. Hear the instruction of thy father, forsake not the law of thy mother. They shall be an ornament of grace upon thy upon thy head. Think about this, because in another translation it says a garland, upon your head, a crown of garland upon your head. So I think we've all seen those, like ancient Greek, the crowns that the Olympians would wear on their heads. So think about it like that. That's basically what it is, an ornament of grace, upon your head. So it's like you've won a prize just from simply hearing the instruction of your father and forsaking not the law of your mother. So basically following sound wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from your parents, and not thinking that, what they say is just foolishness. Okay. Or I don't have to listen to them. And then you start listening to the wrong people. All right. And then a chain about thy neck, and chains about thy neck. This chains here is not talking about like a heavy chain, but remember, like Jesus said, take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. All right. But these chains also are talking about like a place of honor. Like these are like like royalty, signifying, who you are and your position in the family. So think about it. You have a crown on your head and you have this chain on your neck, simply from following, the words of your parents. So it's a reward for you for following instruction, for following sound wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Did you have anything to say, Kim, about those verses?
Just that I see that humility is a characteristic of wisdom, because all those things, one has to be humble. And I thought that was interesting, that respect paying to our elders and humbling yourself, even though we know we typically think every generation is smarter than or gets better than that one. Sometimes you can get the big head, but so it's a level of humbleness that I see that is wise.
Absolutely. And I really had to point that out to my students. Every year I start off with that conversation, actually. I'm like, you really think that you're smarter, that we today are smarter than the people that, were in ancient times? And I'm like, well, think about it. We live in cities, towns, or whatever. Those people had to lay the foundation for that. So are we really smarter, or we're just building on the foundation that was laid for us? So we got to keep all these things in context. We got to learn from that wisdom. All right, so here, verse 10, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. So remember, I was saying, like, that concept, that knowledge that you have has to be within that frame of reference of fear of the Lord. So God is your point of reference in your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So basically getting into his word, knowing what he said, getting understanding for that word. If you don't have it, get wise counsel. Because then here it says, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. So don't agree to do what sinners tell you to do. Okay, if they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. So just even looking at this, if they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, this is innocent blood. So basically, you're stalking people or hunting people, okay? Because it even says here, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. So basically, you're setting someone up to rob them. All right, let us swallow them up whole. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down to the pit. So here is a total ambush. And their words are telling you that, this is wrong, because it clearly said without cause. Those people did nothing to you to deserve this. And we shall find all precious substance. So you going in there for greed. Greed is driving you in this case, or even lust and definitely pride is driving you in this case. We shall fill our house with the spoil. So the spoil is the reward, is what you get from taking from someone else. It's the substance that you take from someone else, whether that be spoils of war, spoils of robbery in this case. Okay, so it's the good things that you find. Okay, cast in thy lot among us, let us all have one purse. So here, even the person gave you the whole plan, that y'all gonna ambush these people, steal their their stuff, and then he says, let us put us all in one pot, let's put it all together, and then we all have one purse. Well, why would you want to have one purse with anybody, especially somebody that just gave you the plan to rob somebody? And if they didn't mind robbing this person over here, why would you think you'd be different? My son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path. So here, once again, given instruction. Walk not in their way, in the way with them. Refrain your foot from their path. So keep yourself from their path. Don't go with them. Choose wisely. Okay, once again, you have lots of information, lots of knowledge, but what is your point of reference? Is it the fear of the Lord, or are you going to be the fool? Okay, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. This is, those people that was mentioned about up here, the sinners. Their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. So if you're spreading the net, right in front of the bird, then that's in vain, because he's going to see the trap and hopefully avoid it. Okay, so this is, the next verse will speak more to it. And they lay wait for their own blood, they lurk privily for their own lives. So basically, this is what it's saying. Because you set all those plans in order to overtake or ambush this other person, innocent person, and shed innocent blood, you don't realize that the trap you're setting is really for you. Because you're going to reap what you sow. So you're blinded by your foolishness. You're blinded by this selfish ambition to overtake someone else for their goods, all right? But you're not realizing that the trap you're setting is really for you, because that harvest will come. It will come, okay? Let me see. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of their owners thereof. So basically what I was just saying, the trap that you're setting, or that they think they're setting, is really the trap for themselves. Because everything that you sow, you're going to reap a harvest for. All right, verse 20. Wisdom cries without. She utters her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? And scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. So wisdom cries without. So basically, wisdom is making a loud and just basically crying out loud, making a scene, causing a scene. Okay, and she utters her voice in the streets. So she's out on the corners, like in Proverbs to talk about it on the corner. She has a corner where she's basically doing her street preaching too. Okay, and she cries in the chief place of concourse. That's what I'm just saying. It's like she has her place out in the public, not hidden. Okay, everywhere that people will go. The chief place of concourse, the openings of the gate, in the city, she utters her words, saying, "How long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity?" So how long will you love foolishness? Okay, and scorners delight in their scorning. So basically, to scorn is to basically look down on something as if it's worthless, something or someone as if they are worthless. So you went from being fool to now a scorner. Okay, and fools hate knowledge. And once again, I'm talking about this knowledge in the sense of, is your frame of reference based on your godly perspective, and then how your worldview impacting your worldview. Kim, did you have anything to say?
The only thing I see that I really liked about that I picked up is that she cries in the streets, and streets are common. We all walk the street, we walk on the street, drive on the street. So it's not just to the people that have a lot of money in terms of accessible. Mm-hmm. Yes, she cries in the chief place of concourse, but wisdom can be found just in your common everyday walk of life, mm-hmm. to the so it's kind of like it's available to anyone that will hear and then do what they heard. Yeah. And I love that God is no respecter of persons.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.